What's up people, arCtiCvBi here, coming at you with another Paragon deck build. Today we're going to look at the new hero, Zinx. I'm super excited for this hero. I know a lot of people had some reservations about her, thought she was going to be broken and all this, but I think she's going to be a good addition to the game. So for Zinx, she's going to be growth and intellect. She has a pretty good ability power, and durability is 8, which is awesome. So as I get into the deck here, I start with the Archmagus. The reason I go with this card is because I think that the power is going to be most beneficial. She's already pretty tanky just by her kit, so I don't think 300 health is going to make that big of a deal. And the attack speed, not so much either. So I think the power is going to be the best bet, so that's what I'm rolling with. As we get down here to the consumables, I have Health Potion, Hunter Strength, Mana Potion, Scout Ward, Shaman Strength, Healer Token. Now, before I deal with any of these, I'm going to go ahead and open up with the Brawler's Ward. Make sure I set that over there by my left lane, just so I have that vision up, just so I can see what's going on. And it'll also give my mid laner a little vision from that side of the jungle as well. So you want to make sure you have that vision up early so nobody gets that early gank on you. Now, once I do that, I'll go back and I'll grab my Health Potion and my Healer Token. The reason I do this is because I'm trying to go for sustain more than kills, especially in the left lane. Once I get to level 5 and I get my ult, maybe I'll get a little more aggressive. But for the most part, you want to get there, you want to farm, you want to wait for your jungler to set up some ganks and then capitalize on that. Make the enemy team overextend. So that's going to be the plan there. Now these other 4 cards, they're situational. If you want to go back and replace your Health Potion with the Hunter Strength and then your Mana Potion with the Shaman Strength, you can do that. Or you can leave those out altogether and just go right into your deck. The Scout's Ward I keep in there just in case I need that extra vision. I can go back and grab the Scout's Ward, so I have that up. Now, as we get to the deck proper, I have 2 throwaway cards. They are the Fountain Spikes. So this card gives you 6 power, 30 mana, and then 6 power, 30 mana once you fully upgrade it. The reason I like the Fountain Spike for Zinx is because she does use a fair bit of mana. Her moves are a little mana consuming, especially her kitty calls and her ultimate. So you want to make sure you have a little bit of mana in there so that you can actually use your abilities and that you can manage your abilities in a way. I equip this with 2 minor strikes and a basic mana, so to give you a pretty decent mana pool there and a bit of power to help you with the last hits and ganking and all that good stuff. Now, so I have 2 of these. I build them exactly the same, so I'm not going to show you the second one. As we get down here, we have the Magus Ward. Now, the ward, I like to build them fairly early, and when I say build them, I mean equip them. I don't usually fully upgrade them until later in the game, but I like to have it equipped just so I can have vision for myself and for my team. And if you get really frisky, you can even ward out the enemy jungle a little bit, especially with a character like this where you're a little more tanky, so you can get away with it. But that's completely optional. Build it whenever you feel necessary. Maybe your team isn't getting ganked, maybe you don't need the vision. You know, it happens sometimes. The Magus Ward is 6 power, 30 mana, and then 30 mana once you fully upgrade it. And I equipped it with 3 basic manas, so it'll help with your mana pool a little bit. Nothing excessive, but it'll do. Now, as we get to the deck here, these last 5 cards, this is the meat of the deck. So I have a little bit of armor, I have some utility cards. Let's go ahead and take a look at them. So the first card that I will start out with is going to be the Stasis Gem. So this card gives you 6 power, and the active is what I like about it. Become immune to damage and crowd control effects for 2.5 seconds. During this time, you're unable to move, attack, or use abilities. Interrupts channel's abilities, and a cooldown of 60 seconds. So I equipped this with 3 minor strikes, giving me a little bit of power there. But more importantly, it gives you 2.5 seconds of just freedom. You can't be hit, you can't do anything, they can't do anything to you. But the reason that this card is so good for Zinx is because it gives you that time to regen your health or regen your mana. Now, Zinx, as she levels up her ult, she gets 2, 4, 6% back, mana back for of her missing mana. So it's almost like Infinity Stream in a way. And also I have a card in the deck called Cast Converter. Once you activate that, you sacrifice mana for health regen. So if I do get into a sticky situation, I can pop that and then go into my Stasis Gem, make sure that I'm just getting that health back while they can't do anything to me. Now, that's the first card that I build. The second card that I'll build is going to be the Clear Heart. And this card You can equip it and then come back and upgrade it later, because once you equip it, you get the benefits. Later on, I might go and change the deck around so that I put these points somewhere else, because you don't really need to upgrade Clear Heart really, but it's up to you really. But this card gives you increase all healing received by 15%, including health regen and lifesteal. I like this because it synergizes with the deck so well. Cast Converter and your ultimate are both going to give you life back. So Clear Heart is just going to increase the amount of health that you're getting back, which will make you harder for the enemy team to kill. So that's why I equipped Clear Heart. And then I have this little bit of mana regen here. So I have two basic chronos, which are 0.3, and then a chrono, which is 0.6. So it'll give you 1.2 mana back, so nothing crazy, but a little bit there. Now, the next two cards here, Cast Converter and Thick Blood, is very situational, depending on which one I'll build. If I'm tanking a lot of damage and I'm really engaged in the fight, like I'm somehow the frontliner, I might go with Cast Converter so I make sure that I have that sustain. But let's say they have like a phase on their team that is wrecking shop, because phase is a supported choice right now. I will go with the Thick Blood because you want to help your team shut down a player like phase, because phase, if you don't shut her down, it's going to be very hard to kill anybody on the enemy team. Now let's take a look at Cast Converter first. So Cast Converter gives you 30 mana and then 0.3 mana regen. It consumes, or the active consumes 175 mana to gain 47.5 health regen for 10 seconds. So, as I explained earlier, this card right here will allow you to get health back. With the Clear Heart, it will just boost that. And if you're taking damage, as long as you have your ultimate pop, you'll also get health back from that. So it'll make you very tanky, it'll make you very hard to take down. I equipped this with 3 mana cards, so I'll give you 180 mana right there. I'm stacking a little bit of mana because you do need it to somewhat. You don't want to go too excessive because you don't want to get to the point where Belica can one-shot you even in your ultimate. So don't go crazy with it, but you can build some mana. So next up we have Thick Blood. So Thick Blood gives you 12 power, 30 mana, and then this is why I like it, the unique passive. So on hit with ability, apply Blight to enemies for 4 seconds. The ability that you're probably going to be hitting with is Killaaks, and that is a tick, a dot basically. So for the next 3 seconds, they will take dot damage. So you'll keep Blight on them, and that can really devastate a phase, especially if you're hitting your shots repeatedly. That can shut her down very quickly. I equipped this with 2 major casts, get that power up a little bit, and then a mana. Like I said, keep that mana pull up. Nothing excessive, but just a bit. The last card we're going to build here is going to be the Etherweave Mesh. We talked earlier about how Belica is going to be a threat for Zinx to some effect, especially if she can catch you while you're low. If you have full mana, or if you can get the full mana or pretty much full mana, her ultimate is not going to be that devastating, of course. But if she catches you while you're down, like when you're getting beat on, that's when you're going to be in trouble. So this card right here gives you ability armor and mana regen. So 6 ability armor and then 0.3 mana regen and 0.9 once you fully upgrade it. And I'm going to equip this with 2 beta barriers, which is 18 ability armor, and then a barrier, which is 12. So this will have you around 83 ability armor, I want to say, which is nothing crazy, but it will help you stay alive in situations like that. So this is what I have for Zinx so far. This is what I'm going to build for while I'm doing my live stream today, so I can test it out. So if you want to see what this deck looks like in actual motion, come check out the live stream. It'll be, the live stream will start after I post this video. So check that out soon. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at her moveset and talk about that a little bit. So hang out with me. Now, as we get to her abilities here, first thing is her pistol shot. This is just her basic attack. Nothing really to talk about here. It levels as you level. It's a ranged attack, so she shoots her gun, she deals damage. Easy peasy. We'll get back to that a little bit more once we get to Killaaks. Now, her second move is called Bad Medicine. So this move right here, Zinx charges her gun and fires downward. When the projectiles hit the ground, it creates a field of energy, deals 25 ability damage on direct hit, and leaves AoE that deals 50 ability damage over 4 seconds. Takes 0.75 to reach, or seconds to reach maximum charge. Can be fired early to create a smaller field. Now, the thing to note about this is that this is a charge ability. So that means you have to actually hold it down in order to get the full effect. Now, If you tap it, you will still make a fill, but it'll be much smaller. So keep that in mind. If you want to extend or catch multiple people, hold it down for, it's not even a second. So really it's super quick. But that way you can catch more people, more minions. Now there are going to be situations where you might want to just make a little fill right in front of you. Maybe somebody jumped on you. But most of the time you're going to want to extend that out so you get maximum potential for it. The next move we have here is going to be the Kitty Claws. Now, this move is going to be your bread and butter. This is going to be your damage right here. So Kitty Claws is Zinx toggles her pistol into a empowered state. While empowered, her pistol shots cost 60 mana per shot and applies 60 ability damage over 3 seconds to enemies. So the thing to note here, and there's a couple, but firstly, this is a toggle ability, meaning that you turn it on and off. So the way that you know that it's on, there will be a red, there will be a huge reticle right there. So you'll be able to see it. You'll know when it's on and when it's off. Secondly, you want to make sure that you hit these shots when you have Kitty Claws active, because it costs a lot of mana and it's going to be your main source of damage. So if you can't hit your autos, you're going to be missing out on a lot of damage with Zinx. Because bad medicine is not going to do it for you all by itself, and neither is Ricochet. So keep that in mind. As we get down here to Ricochet stun. So medium range projectile that after hitting an enemy ricochets to the nearest enemy in a 650 unit radius. The first enemy hit is stunned for 0.75 seconds. Enemy hit by the ricochet are stunned for 0.25 seconds longer than the last enemy. Ricochets 2, 4, 6, 8 times. Will not ricochet to previous targets. Now, this move is important because this will allow you potentially to stun a team, especially if they're, like moving in unison, they're moving as a group. This right here can devastate a team. That can change the whole flow of a fight. Like, think about pairing this with Gadget's ult or Gideon's ult or Aurora, anybody with something like that. You will have them stuck in that ult even for a second, especially if you have a steal or somebody with you. So, but more importantly, you have to make sure that you hit this because it is a skill shot. So think of like Kallari's dagger or Phase E. You have to make sure you're hitting them. The last move right here is going to be your dirty healing. So this is another toggle ability, meaning you can turn it on and off. So this right here, Zinx toggles a defensive barrier around her body. While in this state, Zinx heals 50% of all damage dealt to her and removes mana based on damage received. Now the passive, Zinx gains mana regen proportional to her missing mana. Now, thing to note here, so Zinx is going to receive 50% of the health or the damage that is dealt to her, but it takes her mana. So it may look like, you're tanking a whole lot of shots, but remember, it is taking your mana, and once you're out of mana, you are just a regular hero. You're squishy in a way. So make sure that you're paying attention to your mana, that you're not casting your abilities all willy-nilly, because you will pay for it a little bit later. So now her passive, just keep in mind, depending on how much mana you are missing, you will start to regen mana back. So when you get really low on mana, I think I was getting up to like 60 or 57 mana back. So as long as you're paying attention, you can balance your mana really well. You can play conservative, play aggressive, but you have to balance that. So just keep that in mind. Now, if I had to prioritize these, of course, I'm going to do dirty healing every time that I can upgrade it. That's your ultimate. You want to upgrade that every time. But for these, I usually start out with the bad medicine, just because it helps me with the farm and it helps me with a little bit of zoning as well. Then I'll go with the ricochet stun, because it does slow them down a little bit. It helps you poke at them a little bit. And the last thing that I built early on is the Kitty Claws. And the reason I build it last is because it takes so much mana. In early game, you don't really have a lot of mana to spare. So I go ahead and hold off on that for a little bit. Now, once we're out of that early game stage, I always prioritize Kitty Claws because it's going to be your main source of damage. And then I'll go with Ricochet Stun, and Bad Medicine will be last. And like I said, Dirty Healing taking precedence over all of those. So people, that's what I have for Zinx so far. This is going to be the build that I'm going to run with her today while I'm doing my live stream. If you like this build, make sure to drop a like, subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and also in the comments, tell me how you're building her. Tell me what cards you're using. Also, if you stayed for the whole video, tell me who's your favorite offlaner, or tell me if Zinx has taken that spot. So, who's your favorite offlaner, or is it now Zinx? You know, has he taken Fang Mao's spot? Has he taken whoever's spot? Crunch, whoever. As always, people, this is arCtiCvBi. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching the video. We will see you in the next one. Peace.